my destination, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go through the cards in a very general way, and then I'll go into it more specific. I might try to do one more here depending on how long this one goes, that's really related more so in around finances, that will be kind of up and coming here, and again in the next couple of months. Some of you may be resonating with this, others may not. It might be something that's further out. You're all on different timelines. You all make decisions, different dates, different weeks, all of that. And again, you're not all going through the exact same thing at the same time. It will stagger out. So it's again different for all of you. Okay, so what I'm going to go through first is again the main energies, and then we'll go into the clarifiers which are following. And I'm going to say, for the most part, the energies that I see for the current energy right now that you're dealing with has more to do with kind of working through a process, is what I would say. A lot of the clarifiers are a lot more sort of deterministic, a lot more final. There's a lot more finality in a lot of what I see as that clarifies. So that's where the energy, I would say, is being taken. But currently what you're looking at is, sorry guys, issues breathing sometimes. Okay, so what I'm looking at right now is the Chariot and the Ace of Cups, or sorry, the Ace of Swords. So the Ace of Swords in itself, of course, in my mind, this is really about, there's been some communication issues, something along that line. It's not to say that there isn't any communication, but I feel that the communication can be very strained, or has been very strained. And this is moving into that domain of trying to clear things up, is what I would say. Aces are all about that new beginning, or a new idea, a new potential, some kind of promise in an early situation here. So it's all in that early stage of something. When we get to again, Ace of Swords is where you're starting to clarify. Something is coming through, so something makes sense now. And so now it's almost like you know what you're working with, or something has come to light, so you know what you're dealing with. It's something along that line. So it does mean that you're using a fair amount of breakthrough sort of energy here, and this is definitely something that comes to the mind in a way of your intellect. Something is like, aha, here's the moment, this, now I understand what's going on, this is how I can proceed forward. It's that kind of thing. There's a lot more it has been challenging energy here, but there's also a very solid commitment going forward with that clarifier. But I also feel, like I said, this is you having learned to either strengthen adversity here. This is something where you've been challenged in some way to be able to clear up this situation. So this is where you're actually getting rid of the illusion. You're really seeing things for what it is. You're finally awakening to something here. And I feel like this is really going to help you to take advantage of whatever the truth was that you just discovered. I feel like you're going to be able to deal with things with a lot more of a valued mindset, like a lot more of a deeper wisdom, because once you know how, what you're dealing with, you're not going to be distracted by all the what if, or, is it going to be, like, all the questions have been put to rest, basically. And so you may have a whole new set of questions, but it is still dealing with some kind of initiative going in a certain direction, because you're now able to see it something clearly here, that you're clarifying the issue around something. Something has come to light, so now you have a better understanding of what you're dealing with, is really what that starts out with. That's your current energy around a situation. And again, because it is clarified with the challenging card over here with the Chariot, I feel like this, whether this is a romantic situation or a situation with somebody who's quite significant in your life, I feel like this has been a situation where there has been a lot of challenge. There's been a lot of intensity, or a lot of emotional extremes, things along that line. I feel like you're still trying to work with your intellect, like you're trying to make the necessary changes in around your mindset to be able to, make a wise decision in regards to this matter. I feel like you're trying to find ways to release the pressure. It's all of that. How do I get rid of the anxiety? How do I get rid of stress? It's things like that that are going to help you to boost your energy and put things back into balance. So if someone is thinking about you, I feel like, they would also have this breakthrough moment of, maybe understanding something about you as well. But either way, I feel like it's more of a positive card after a time of challenge, and there is going to be some level of self-acceptance with this card, or some kind of determination toward a success or successful outcome. So again, I'm looking at this more along a relationship aspect, that there is some potential in a situation, but again, it's still like a baby step toward that direction. Again, it's the main energies are all very small, minor arcana, really, but there is mature wisdom in a lot of the cards here, and there is clarification. So when I see the Chariot, like I said, could be dealing with a Cancer sign here as well, or a water sign, but it also comes into play that this is around some kind of a journey that was required to overcome some obstacles, and there was a challenge around it, so you have had to push through something here. I feel like this is, because you're now clear on a particular direction, I feel like there's been an inner transformation, because you've had, you've come to this clarity because you've had to transform something. And even though I didn't bring forward the Death card, which was at the bottom of the deck, that is a card of transformation. So it's really kind of the self-made, you, or self-made discovery that is helping you to, break through the situation. So there could also be some level of travel, possibly, maybe even with this person, but well, maybe I'll try to pull a card as well further out, but we'll see. Because I do see the World card here further out, and again, I also saw the card of the Chariot, and to me, that can be travel by car, that kind of thing. Again, these are clarifiers, so it's current energy, but it's also, these are the clarifiers going a little further out. There is an energy around a real solid willpower or self-discipline. That kind of thing comes through with a Chariot. So whatever decision or clarity that came, whatever truth came to light, I feel like you have decided, this is the direction I'm going in. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to proceed. And it's a really take charge kind of energy, a really take charge kind of energy around your relationship or this significant connection, or however that resonates for you. So the other part of it is, again, when we're looking at the Seven of Pentacles, this to me is a card of really contemplating a space. Somebody who's kind of trying to lay out a foundation, trying to figure out how to move ahead. It's not just the Seven of Pentacles, though. What's interesting is that it's around, and again, it's not a big major arcana out here, but I mean, it definitely speaks to, it is surrounded around some very major arcana. So like I said, I see the Chariot, the Judgment, the World, and they're very close in proximity. So to me, this kind of, renders around there being some sense of somebody's starting to plant some seeds, or make a move in a certain direction that's going to help benefit things down the road. So you may not be seeing that advantage just yet, but it is still reevaluating, a relationship, coming to terms with the situation, taking steps to make some major lifestyle changes here, especially with the Judgment card. But it's also a strong realization that maybe something you were dealing with was a lot more significant than you had expected, because there's strong clarity and Judgment card around it, and an ending card with the World card further out. So again, Seven of Pentacles is about reevaluating your close relationships, and, kind of looking at the things about how you would, how you can better equip yourself to deal with this new awareness. And again, it's dealing with a lot of your mental resources at this time. There is perhaps a little bit of a detached energy, although there's a strong commitment. A detached energy may be around your emotional state and the way you're dealing with things. There may have been some very strong emotions, but it seems like whatever the current energy is that you're going into, it feels like it's unfolding in a way that is now I've got the realization, now I can deal with things in a more breakthrough logical, mode. Because there's something that's been set into motion here with the Chariot card, and there is definitely still a space of trying to figure out how to move on that that momentum. So I feel like, this is also that space around trying to look for the things that are going to be sustainable in your life. So there's, also that message of this is a work in progress. This is something where you can move forward, but it's going to take some time, some hard work, that kind of thing, to really pull through whatever the situation. I don't feel like there's energy here of something not moving through, but it's almost like you're still in that energy of focusing on what it is that that has put you into this space, and you're just trying to either detach or break through old belief systems and that kind of thing, and work through that energy a little bit more here. We also have, again, the Four of Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles, and of course that is a card of sort of somebody's holding back on their emotions, very controlled emotions, very quiet about what they do. Somebody is not, forthright, that kind of thing. Doesn't mean they're lying or cheating or anything like that, but it does mean that there's that energy around clinging to the old, not wanting to change. So even though there is some sense of, something coming to light, either you or another is not wanting to accept that there is a change in another, maybe, or a change in a situation, or that, there's some kind of, I don't want to say this is like a discontent or anything like that, but there is a sense that there could be a possible repeat of a pattern. I'm not sure here yet. I'll know more as I go through, but right now it just feels like there is something about a fear here, and maybe I don't want to say codependency necessarily, but I definitely feel like it's relating to something around the past and not wanting to let go of that situation. Not wanting to allow something to grow or mature in a certain way of its own, natural course of things. But again, dealing with somebody who's quite reserved and not ready to put a lot of energy out. So the World card, of course, is finishing up that cycle. So this is that energy around, I am, done learning this particular lesson in the way that I had previously learned it. But I'm now going into that space of, learning something new. So whatever it is that you're kind of finishing up here, you're in that space of trying to acquire or you will be required to acquire more information to accomplish the next thing. So you've learned something that you can take forward here. This could be in around boundaries as well, but the World card really is something opening up to you. And for some of you, it could be moving abroad or taking a trip, something along that line, but it definitely speaks to reaching the highest goal in a particular situation that seems to be in around. If I were doing this as a financial read, it would be around that, but really this is a little bit more so on the relationship aspect of things. So I feel like this is where you're coming forward with a self-actualized energy, because the World card is it's a sense of completion. It's a sense of really understanding the situation now with more accuracy. There could even be some important, information legally or otherwise that might come through. I'm not seeing so much legal information, but it could be just because I see the Judgment card here. I mean, there's something that might be, and there's also that Five of Swords, although it is a little bit further out, and it is under a mature energy of a King of Pentacles. So somebody who certainly does have money or has the ability to make money and is very good with money. It's that kind of energy. Even though they're not completely close together here, there is something about not going it alone, because the Judgment card is speaking to someone's not going it alone, or you shouldn't go do this alone. There's something here that a decision that you were hoping for, is starting to move in that direction. So there's whatever blockages were sort of around it, I feel are now opening up, and that's going to allow you to transform yourself and create a better life for yourself here. Like I say, the World card is also a card of, if I saw it around the Moon card, maybe sort of mental health issues or something could be relevant there too. But because I'm seeing it, I'm just kind of looking at, it definitely is around some kind of cycle around the past that seems to be completing. It's not going to be in the way that it was before. I'll just say that much, because it's in a space here where, the conclusion of the old way is near. So whatever has been brought to light has changed the course of the way this is going to move forward. So something has changed. There is still a sense of wanting to cling to that space, or you might still be in that space, but it's still something that you need to realize has, kind of come full cycle here, and it's kind of a fulfillment card of sorts, because this is where you're striking a balance, not just spiritually and on the physical plane, but something you know, because you're going to have to look for the deeper meaning in life with these cards. You know, you've overcome some kind of an obstacle. I'm just going to pull through some of the other things here, guys. Okay, so when we get to the Queen of Wands, and again, I'm going to wrap it up and tie them in together. So we're just going through the singular cards here first, and then just touching on some of the others, and then I'll just pull it together. But the other part of it is here too, when we're looking at the Queen of Wands, this is somebody, this could be a person that's relevant here as well, but definitely the Queen of Wands energy does speak to somebody who, again, is quite mature, who's really, you know, draws attention to themselves, somebody who's quite outgoing, or at least has that ability to, you know, command a certain amount of attention. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy comes up with this one, and the Cancer energy here as well seems to stand out again for me. But I also see this as somebody who could be business type, or has an entrepreneurial quality, or just somebody who's very mature, and certainly could represent sort of a nervous energy around a childlike thing here, or past. Something around that could be, you know, but there's still the advice that comes through to, you know, nurture that creative spark in yourself, and certainly you know, take action in the direction of, you know, wisdom and knowledge and that kind of thing that revolves around mother energy that sort of stands in it, but it's also dealing with the inner self and being receptive to things. So there is a completion of a project, completion of a situation, could be in around a female here as well, but again, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius with this card, but it certainly still speaks to some kind of improvement. So either way, I would say if it's in around this connection, it's probably more along the line of either there's a lot of passion or there's a lot of intense emotions, good or bad, however that resonates for you. And again, it's dealing with someone from the past. So again, I strongly feel like there's travel or something around that here for you, but either way, I feel like there is sort of a vested interest in someone in a very long committed sort of energy. This is also that energy of, you know, giving birth to new ideas, and maybe there is something here where you're kind of seizing a path, or someone's seizing a new path and going forward in a particular direction that is going to be a lot more enthusiastic and empowering, and there's a lot more energy that comes through in this reading in regards to all of that. So when I get down to again, this is the Six of Cups, and the Six of Cups is that energy of dealing with trying to create some balance in around maybe a mother figure or somebody who's got an energetic sort of quality to them. But there is something here about trying to create some balance or harmony in around that face of change, because there's a lot of cards of change and ends here. There's a big transformative energy that's coming through, not only with the Judgment, but is moving in a particular direction for sure. With the Chariot, could be by vehicle, world, could be traveling, could be further out, but it could also stand for something in around, you know, just the completion overall. Something came to light, brought everything to some complete resolution. And even though there's a sense of wanting to cling to the past, you really can't in this space, because it's been a hard-won battle here with the Five of Swords. So something has to be released. It's letting go of something. The Five is a new cycle. It's a progress, and it's an adjustment of some sort. So, you know, this too shall pass is really what that energy speaks to. When we look at, again, that Queen of Wands is a significant card in sort of moving on something and doing so in a really mature way. But we have the Six of Cups energy here. And so this is that innocence of childhood, or dealing with a child, as I said, something that was from the past, something nostalgic, something that I feel is kind of moving forward, but again, it was not an easy battle. So this could be something of a protective quality around a childlike sort of element here as well, but there is a happier time that sort of speaks to this combination. So whatever you were dealing with, this is rounding up. That cycle is it's completed, and you're moving into a new way of dealing with this person. So, and again, it may be just that you've made most of the decision to do so, and then this person will transform on their own, or however it resonates, because there's just so many cards of transformation and ending up on a new cycle. So, like I said, I mean, that card is about rethinking the situation. Certainly when we've got some of the other cards around it, it's rethinking a situation, not really wanting to let go of what was, but still realizing that, and able to enrich your life again. you know, this is where the past resurfaces, and you do have to move in some very practical ways here with that King of Pentacles, and you do have to do it from a mature mindset. If you are dealing with a coupleship, and this isn't, if it is in around a more romantic scenario, this would be, I would say, somebody who's quite grounded and very mature, good with money, that kind of thing. Like I said, somebody who's probably very well off or has that potential, and the other person is quite energetic, spontaneous, a lot more charismatic, a lot more outgoing. So if we are looking at that kind of a connection from the past and long term, I would say this is, you know, this has been a bit of a battle. I do feel like this is, and again, this could be somebody who presents as, you know, doesn't have to be somebody who has a lot of money, but certainly does present as someone who has the capability to do, you know, to bring that kind of thing about. So I do feel like there is some form of a new opportunity that will arise here, but there's a big transformation taking place. So it's really hard to know exactly how that's going to play out yet. But either way, I mean, I do feel like this is kind of in that space of rekindling something, you know, even though the battle has been incredibly difficult. So like I said, you're sort of searching for this new beginning, or somebody, the two of you, however, searching for a new beginning, you know, but it's still in that space of healing something here, I would say. The King of Pentacles, like I said, still speaks to that energy of somebody who is pretty competent and very confident. So I would say that even though there's a certain level of confidence coming through here with the King of Pentacles, and again, whether this is somebody who's very accomplished, manager, banker, successful in some way, self-employment, or however, I still feel like this is someone who is has a professional quality about them, or a professional nature, just the way that they present themselves. So again, could be meeting somebody who has that energy here as well, but I just feel if it's been a really hard battle. So for you, in some nostalgic way here, maybe the battle was more so along that front, but either way, there could be somebody new that's coming in here in terms of money that might help, you know, advance your situation. Or somebody with high status, like something along that line. And this person, you know, really the queens are very receptive, and they're more open to things. So this is where I feel your energy is. And the kings are certainly more, they're quite wise, and they have a certain standard. They like to do things in a certain way that's more learned, but everything they touch just seems to turn to gold. Like it's very, you know, it does well. There's somebody here that's coming through here that's quite resourceful. And as I said, they have a fairly high standard. They see things through to the end. They're quite aware of their surroundings and what they're dealing with. The energy around the Five of Swords, sorry, Ten of Swords, just double checking here. Yeah, that Ten of Swords energy has been a really difficult battle. So I think I said Five of Swords before. Anyway, Ten of Swords, but either way, the battle has been difficult. That cycle is over. You have too many end cards here to, you know, to let you know that it's done. So whatever this challenge was that you were faced with, you're on, if you're not already in that energy, you will be pretty soon, because the Ten of Swords speaks to a forced change. Something you didn't really want to endure, something that created, if there's a final resolution here because it was a painful one, it was something that, it was kind of a dramatic end, or something about it was dramatic. Again, harsh words, anything along that line, miscommunications, maybe some lies, maybe some treachery or whatever. But again, I don't see lying or anything in this reading so much at this point in the current energy. It's like something has already come to light, and now it's just a matter of kind of cleaning up the, you know, the healing energy and putting yourself back into a space of moving forward. So again, you've been pushed through to this change, and it has not been easy, but your current position is that you are looking for balance. And I feel like you're no longer paralyzed. You're actually able to move through the energy, because this is something that's hurt you very badly. But it's also in that energy of, you know, the suffering that you would have endured for, you know, anxiety or pain, whatever it was for you. Like I said, know that this is you in a space of big change. And it's almost like maybe there's been elements of healing throughout this, because there's such a huge amount of transformative energy. And again, these are, we're at a deeper level. These are all the cards that you're going to be going through here very shortly. I feel this is big energy, so it's probably going to play out a little bit further for some of you as well. But each of you has like your own perspective on whatever that current energy is. So some of you might be going through the energy of, just moving through the, as I said, just moving through some of the painful aspects, and the others, maybe already in this space of, okay, I've healed enough that I can now bring in, new people into my life to help me to further, heal that space. So some of you may just be in a closed off space here still. And then, like I say, it's going to resonate for you all a little bit differently. But either way, it's a final ordeal that's wrapping up. In the face of this victimization kind of energy here, you are now in a very positive, or going into a very positive space. And again, big changing energy around this. And again, even when if I bring through that, the card of the death card, that was at the bottom of the deck. And of course, even around that, before that, was the card of the Five of Cups. So there was definitely some very huge emotional impact on you. Okay, so now we're going to wrap it up, but we're also just going to try to add to it and tie it all together again. Oh, and I didn't go through the Judgment cards. Maybe I'll go through those in a minute, but I'll just, in a brief way, just let you know that underneath the Judgment card, it looks like there is some kind of, collaborative people around you that you're bringing forward to sort of pick up the pieces. And again, a strong Cancer energy, strong Mother energy, strong intuitive energy, but we'll kind of get through that in a little bit. So, okay, so I'm just going to piece it together here again. Okay, so again, when we're looking at the Chariot and the Ace of Swords, this is that energy around having a strong willpower to accomplish something and be victorious. It's also in around possible travel, could be by car, something along that line. But there's a lot of determination to, in light of this Ace of Swords energy, whatever's come to light, this mental clarity, there's clear thinking, new ideas, all of that is, represents the mind. So now you're in a space of, now I'm going to push forward in a particular direction because now I understand what I'm dealing with. It's, you being very analytical, but also now you're ready to move and you feel like you've got more confidence or more faith in your abilities, and you feel like you're much more capable in taking action. So this is that energy of your mindset. That's what's going on here. So again, this is a powerful message that you've got mental clarity and you're encouraged to go forward because you've got a deeper meaning about the situation. So you're moving in the right direction. When we get to the Seven of Pentacles, again, still in around the Judgment card, and I do have a few of the clarifiers there, but sorry guys. Okay, so back in there, so the Judgment card in itself, of course, is kind of bringing some kind of revolution or revelation where it's a fresh start. There's a new sense of purpose. You feel like you can, you're awakened to some inner voice here, and especially too with the Judgment underneath. And again, we had the, your inner voice is coming through with the Queen of Cups. You feel like you understand something now and you know how to deal with it. You feel like you have a truth that is helping you to, assertively go forward. So again, this is about persevering and putting your efforts and your labor behind your decisions. It's also in around that energy of, reassessing, how to listen to your inner voice and respond to that calling. So, again, whether this involved another person, you're still sort of examining that situation, but you're also much more determined to move off in a particular direction, or at least take a different approach in that direction. Because that, like I said, you're doing it in a very methodical way in this connection, and again, however this connection is for you. It doesn't have to be a loving connection. It could be just somebody who is very significant to you, or it could be around a workspace, anything along that line. But it's definitely you, taking stock and making, some kind of new plan, to change your approach in the way that you were kind of aligning with this connection. So you're transforming your life in some new way because you have reached some new level, new height of awareness, and now you're going to find some, level of achievement here. So we also have the card of, like I said, we're moving into the energy of the World card and the Four of Pentacles. So the World card, of course, is a card of tying something up. But in around the Four of Pentacles, again, as I mentioned, you're trying to unify all the elements together and maintain some level of balance. So clearly you were off balance previously, and now you feel a lot more at, you're feeling a lot more, I don't want to say absolutely happy and excited, but I mean, I feel like in this space, either you or another person is still kind of pulling back, very, controlling their emotions, that kind of thing. But it still speaks to some level of recognition or accomplishment in a situation. So it does represent some kind of feeling or constriction around, being a little bit rigid in making the changes. But it does mean that there is going to be a lot more satisfaction going forward, even though you're sort of hanging on to an area or a person or your material things or, the physical things. Again, doesn't have to be, money, but it can be physical things in terms of just your physical body. Like there's a lot more controlled energy around that. There's not a lot of completely open and receptive like over here. You're dealing with yourself or someone else, like I said, that is a lot more restricted or rigid in their approach to life. And they're a little reluctant to let go of something and able to move in lieu of this new change that is inevitably going to be taking place. So again, when you get to this space here with the World card, the Judgment, all of that, I mean, you're having to reevaluate your belief systems, something at a really deep core level. This is not about true happiness just all of a sudden, landing on the plate. This is about, moving toward happiness because you are ultimately digging deep to find it. So again, I feel like you're doing it in a very controlled manner, and you're all about your material security at this point. I feel like there is something about slow and methodical and things taking time and able to reach, full levels of fulfillment and accomplishment. And that's how you're going to find your balance. And I feel like somehow money is a big part of this too in some way, or at least the security elements here, because that's tied into your emotional well-being, because this is also a card of self-actualization, as I mentioned. So it does call for you to be a little more open here when you get to the Queen of Wands. But I definitely still feel like you're moving in the right direction of that energy. So when I also see, like I say, Queen of Wands is still that energy of, taking action, feeling a lot more enthusiastic, a lot more, wanting to explore the territory or learn more, be a little more creative, be, broad-minded, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I feel like you are maybe with this other person moving toward more of a common goal, or there's a like-mindedness for the path that you're going on. But this is somebody who's quite visionary and can inspire other people. So I feel like it's your energy that is kind of inspiring, or at least bringing something to the forefront for other people, because there is a collaborative effort around here where you're kind of coordinating things with other people here with that, and able to sort of move it to the next level. So you're not doing this alone. And again, there's a lot of mature advisors or something that's coming through here. So a lot of passion, a lot of drive, somebody who's got a lot of energy to acquire or create some level of success in a situation. Doesn't have to be financial, but again, it could be just something that's in around your security, or something that makes you feel secure in a connection or otherwise that's important. I do feel like, like I said, again, visionary sort of energy here, but this is also someone who is willing to take a little bit more of a risk in a new direction. So again, still wanting to cling to, the old, but you're now moving into an energy here, or at least there's some forethought in that direction where you're looking for a lot more, you're looking to be inspired. You're looking for, maybe there is a fiercely protective loved one. Something like that could also come through with this energy. But there's definitely a strong capacity for leadership. And again, very strong emotions that's coming through here. Intense desire, a lot of self-expression, that kind of thing. When we get down to the Six of Cups, again, this is still in around the idea of, doing something in a deliberate manner, much more enthusiastic about what's happening with the past, or something that's some connection to the past, or some old, goal with someone else in a connection that you were with, that you're much more open to it. There's a lot more, you're feeling a lot more positive about it. So I would say that maybe there was a need for you to ground yourself, or the relationship needed to be grounded or something like that because something was off kilter. But it's like a slow, methodical planting seeds to get things to move in a particular direction. And that's where the energy is. So again, I don't feel a lot of negative energy or anything like that. I feel like there's really small incremental steps. So I don't feel like there's any big, there has been maybe some traumatic energy over here. But again, it's like that's being released in lieu of some very educated, or mature energy in the way that you're dealing with the situation. So that's what's creating the balance. There's a sense of emotional fulfillment, but grounding as well, because you're letting go of the negative emotions here. And you would have to, and able to get to this energy of peace, happiness, and grounding, and, huge epiphanies, all of that. So when we get to the, okay, so our King of Pentacles is, again, it's still in around that energy of, especially with the Five of Swords, still feel like you're kind of working through something there. Again, there's still sort of a residual of a turbulent time or some difficulty. Maybe it did offset or was throwing, some kind of instability around the finances or around the things that you consider stable or secure. But now this is where you're trying to deal with life in a more, practical, material sort of way, where you're a lot more grounded. And again, you could also be introduced to somebody else here that has that same energy, but I feel like that's putting you in that space as well, because you're attracted to that. So there's a certain complexity around trying to enmesh with someone on that same basis. So like I don't feel like it's just completely, one's dominating necessarily over the other. Kings and queens sort of complement one another. And I feel like this is that energy of, somebody who has a very cautious sort of approach to money. Definitely uses their resources very wisely, as I said, but certainly with that combination, it does indicate that there is some kind of clarity that's coming through as well around your finances or around your security, where you can actually improve the finances here in this month. Because I feel like you are considering long-term consequences, especially when I see the King of Pentacles here. And the Queen is still somebody who's really taking action to use those resources in a very practical way. So again, I feel like it's going to profit you over the long haul, however this resonates, but I feel like that's to your advantage in a lot of different ways. And again, to recap, when we go back into the Ace of Swords, that energy is still, if we're dealing with someone's feelings, this is somebody who's definitely thinking about you. This is where there's a breakthrough energy, whether it's you or you get something's come to light. But it definitely speaks to some kind of, sincerity is what I would say there. There is a sincere connection. There's a sincere inspiration. Things are more clear where they were once very challenging. That's really what I would say on that basis. And I feel like there is a higher chance for there to be more of a successful connection because of that energy and the combination here. We also have that energy around sorry, one sec here. We were back into the Seven of Pentacles there. Okay, so the Seven of Pentacles, like I said, I mean, that still speaks to sevens can be very lucky in themselves, but again, it's still, moving in a sort of a spiritual sort of direction. But again, pentacles are definitely that energy of doing things in a way that, benefits all. Somebody who doesn't just, there is a sense of taking a certain risk around a situation, or thinking of taking a risk in around a child's situation or a nostalgic situation or something from the past. But there's still so much thought over here that it doesn't feel like it's high risk. It's mature energy. It's very well thought out. It's just that it's different from the space that you were previously in. So again, Seven of Pentacles is keep it moving. Your patience will pay off. Definitely speaks to reevaluating close relationships and just taking steps to move in the direction. Does speak to lifestyle changes here as well in a very big way. Especially with the Judgment card coming through here. But again, it's a cooperative way. I don't feel like you're left high and dry and there's all kinds of, bad energy around it. It feels like it's a very strategized and choreographed sort of element here that, kind of brings you into that space, because Three of Pentacles, this is raising it to the next level. This is involving other parties. This is bringing something to the space where you can actually work with it, because it's Pentacles are all about you've got something to work with. It's not something that you have to create. You actually have something to work with. So again, I feel like you're involving other people to bring this to a better space, but you definitely earn that energy of I am going to, you know, relate. How do I say? There's going to be more routine or stronger, because there's a very rigid approach over here. So I feel like there's going to be a certain element of structure, or moving something in a very focused way, especially when the Judgment is here. I mean, maybe it could be even around, if we are talking about a job, although I am kind of bringing this in around a relationship. So I feel like somehow this connection is where you're dealing with professionals of some sort for some of you. But it definitely still feels like it's in around stepping up. You're not really changing course so much as you are doing it in such a way that you're working towards something, maybe with somebody here, because it's a very self-disciplined energy with a lot of these cards here. But it's almost like you had to have resolved something from the past here and able to get to that space. So again, you're still putting in the hard work, resolving some of the issues, and it definitely still speaks to personal relationships that have matured for sure. And there's a new level of loyalty, or a new level of connection, is what I would say there. So when we get into just almost wrapping it up here, guys, so that was again 4 of Pentacles. And when we're talking about the Queen of Wands as feelings, as I said, that's still in around that energy of somebody who has feelings towards you, or you toward them. There's a very passionate sort of connection here. It's definitely somebody who's a lot more open to, to a connection, right? So they're more, could be a lot more full of ideas, or let's do different things. It's that kind of energy, but it's also very highly empathic kind of, energy around this. So somebody's very fond of you overall. That's what I'll just say there. And I think that they will make some efforts to move in your direction more so now. And this is somebody from the past, again, because we do have that 6 of Cups, that somebody's moving forward in that way. They're going to come forward in some way. For others of you. But again, there's something here with that King of Pentacles in terms of feelings. Like I said, somebody feels a lot more, I feel a lot of loyalty. I feel a lot of connection. I feel a lot of security. I feel that there's a lot of emotional and spiritual sort of connections here to whoever this is. And I do feel like it's pure energy, and it's very promising. And whoever this could be a potential partner for some of you, or some of you are actually dealing with somebody from the past. So wrapping it up again, just to conclude, when we get to the 5 of Swords, again, this is still around that energy of, some of you, this would have been dealing with somebody that, again, where there's been feelings that have not, it's been tested, feelings that have really, it's really been a sharp sort of word, like I said, sharp ending, something along that line. But overall, I just feel like you're going to be moving into calmer waters, because the World card is here. So this is, again, when you're focused on your feelings, there's more self-actualization, more understanding of who you are, and that you're moving into the right space, more balance. And again, it's about you being more connected to your surroundings, or incoming call. So I'm going to leave it at that. Keep moving forward and never give up. That's where we're at. And yeah, this is just current energy. We will tie it up here in the next read with more along the financial aspect of things.